Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Trends Tech. Today, we are talking about the Apple Vision Pro. This is my review. This is my experience after 6 months. So, let me go ahead and tell you guys what I think about it. So, the pros. The thing I love most about the Apple Vision Pro is the immersive experiences. Hands down, best thing I've ever experienced. And I want more of them. Apple, please give us more. I know there's more on the way, but definitely need more content. The other thing that I really like about the Vision Pro is sometimes I would think to myself, I wish this was more like a Mac. And after using it for 6 months and getting past like the first couple days and whatnot, I'm actually not completely upset that it has more of a iPad sort of interface. Now, you could look at the price and you could say, hey, $4,500 versus iPad interface. What's the point? But when it comes to the VR, AR type of stuff, I understand where Apple was going with this. The other thing I like about the Vision Pro is actually this solo loop. The dual loop, I think, is better for other people that I guess it wants when you want something to rest on the top of your head, it kind of makes more sense. I'll be honest, I didn't even take out the dual loop because once I started using the solo loop on here, I got so used to the convenience and I just learned my way around this thing on how to use it and it became cool for me. So here is one real world example of this. So with the solo loop, I can put this on and I can just easily tighten this up and I'm good to go. I don't have to think about anything. There's no Velcro to mess around with or anything like that. The other thing I can do is if I want to take a break, what I can do is I can actually lift this up and then just turn the dial down just a little bit. And now it can just sit on my head and I don't have to worry about it going anywhere. I can shake my head, move my head up and down, whatever, and it'll be fine. I may need to loosen it up or adjust it, but that pretty much kind of, works out pretty good. The other thing about the Vision Pro that I really liked was the fact that you can have these inserts for the readers. So sometimes I wear readers because I can't see that well. But yeah, readers are cool. The fact that they just magnetically attach and go in there is pretty dope. So I like those. And the other thing I love about the Vision Pro is I love the full immersion. So with the Vision Pro, you can choose to either be fully immersed inside of the experience and the OS and everything like that, or you can have the AR augmented reality to where you're using the cameras inside the Vision Pro and you can still see everything else around you. And even though that you're just looking through cameras, the cameras are like really, really good. Like you can pretty much walk around and be fine and be okay as long as you have, sufficient lighting or it's daylight outside and it's a computer that's on your face. There are a lot of times where I can't take my MacBook everywhere, or there's a lot of times where, maybe my iPhone screen is just a little too small. And the fact that I can throw on a Vision Pro and throw up a screen as big and as large as I absolutely want to is, really dope. So those are some of the things, I like about the Vision Pro. The other thing I like about the Vision Pro, honestly, is the look. Like, I know some people say, oh, it looks ridiculous. I can't believe, oh my God, how would you wear that? I think it looks totally fine. I have no issues wearing it. I have no issues feeling like I'm, you know, offending somebody or looking crazy or whatnot. Because honestly, if we're going based off of appearances, there's always something that somebody's not going to like. So I'm pretty much cool with the appearance. I'm all the way into tech and everything else like that. I still, to a certain degree, like eyesight, but at the same time, it's like a hit or miss. Like I want to like it, but we'll get to the con section later about that. But I just wish it would stay on the whole time. If I could hit a button to keep it on the entire time, and I could just see like that visor, like a I don't know Knight Rider type of thing going on or whatever, that would be dope. That would be cool. I would absolutely enjoy that. Um, the other thing about the Vision Pro is it's a unique enough product that kind of just stands away from everything else. So one of the things that people always talked about in the tech community is, oh, we're bored and no new technology. Well, honestly, this is one of the new things that Apple came out with that kind of, struck a chord with me. And it's probably the reason why I'm going to try even more VR headsets and, AR glasses and stuff later on down the line. So, you know, that's kind of a cool thing that Apple kind of did for me. And just overall, just using the product, if we take away the price, we take away a lot of the other, issues or complaints, as a first generation product, it's not terrible. And I've seen a lot of products out there that were just absolutely terrible as first generation products. So that's all of the pros. Let's get into the cons or the things I don't like or things that should be improved. The first thing that I will talk about is when the Vision Pro was being announced, when it was coming out, there was a lot of hype around it, but there was a lot of sentiment out there that people were saying, yo, this is a beta product. And to be honest, I kind of disagreed with it because I had a lot of faith in Apple. Like, there's no way that they're going to come out with a $4,500 device and it's going to be crippled and it's going to be this. Apple's going to have like their own special sauce and stuff, and things are going to be good, right? Well, we got the Vision Pro. It launched, and from day one, you have like the honeymoon period and stuff that everybody talks about, all the way through like a month later. After about a month, I felt like I had reached the limits of the Vision Pro as far as what it could do and all of the things that it could not do. And to a certain degree, it felt like it was handicapped in a lot of different ways that just really didn't make sense. Because when look at the Vision Pro, you look at the specs and all that stuff, and you say, okay, well, this has an M2 processor and it has an R1 chip to help, balance things out. It has 16 gigs of RAM, this, that, or whatever. But there were times where it felt like using the Vision Pro had either the same or sometimes less capability than the iPad Pro. And I've been very critical on the iPad Pro and like their filing system and all this, that, or whatever. And it's not really pro, it's more just like more of a luxury device type of deal. And honestly, the Vision Pro kind of feels like it's definitely more luxury than functionality to a certain degree. Now, sure, yes, I was, excited about it. Like, hey, I can connect this to my MacBook and I can blow up the screen and I can see all this great, wonderful stuff or whatever. But one of the issues and one of the drawbacks was the fact that it was only single screen. I was hoping for dual screens. It would make sense. You have something that's $4,500 OLED display and all this, horsepower behind it. You're going to connect it to an M1 Max or M2 Max or even an M3 Max. These MacBooks that go up to, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. You figure like it'd be the ultimate setup. You could go ahead and replace like two of your studio displays or whatever, because now you have this immersive thing. You're supposed to have all this digital space. Yeah, you only had one screen. And for the life of me, I just didn't understand why. Like, Apple, how did we get to this point to where you guys debut this product, it cost this much money, and then it was just limited with the functionality. So you did have some people go out there and make apps to where you could have multiple windows, and that was kind of a cool thing. And then recently Apple announced where we're supposed to get like an ultra wide curved version of the monitor. So it's still not going to be two split monitors. It's just going to be one big ultra wide version. I'm kind of excited for that, but I still want, separate screens to kind of mimic having two different windows or whatnot. Now you can have multiple different windows inside of an app as far as like, let's say Safari, you can have multiple different windows and tabs and stuff like that, which is cool. But everything else is just a bunch of apps just kind of floating around in different spaces. And one of the things that I dislike is even though you can move an app anywhere and you can move it, closer or further away inside of a distance, I wish the windows would snap in place, or at least there was an option to have windows just snap in place. So maybe instead of having just a free for all mode, hey, put this window here, snap, it stays right there no matter what. I can't accidentally move it out the way unless I, really focus on moving it. And having different scenes and setups and stuff like that. One of the issues that we did have, and I think this is something that's going to be fixed later, but I got to grade it for my experience and the way that it is now, is the fact that a lot of times when you turned off the Vision Pro, you lost everything. So if you had a custom setup, if you put, let's say, a window on a wall or an app here or a timer there, this, that, or whatever, if the Vision Pro shuts off, you would lose all of that. And so when you turn the Vision Pro back on, you would have to come back and do all of this stuff. Now, yes, I'm still using the beta, and it's the Vision OS 2 beta, and there's certain little tweaks and stuff that are happening, but still, it's just stuff I was kind of expecting to kind of just work from the jump. The other thing about the Vision Pro, honestly, and I have to call it out, is the battery life. Yes, the Vision Pro is very powerful with the amount of horsepower and stuff it has going on. But the fact that you can only use the Vision Pro for 2 hours is a bit of an annoyance. Now, I know some people are going to say, well, I can't even wear the Vision Pro for 2 hours. So what's the point? Well, I got used to, wearing the Vision Pro for a long time. And to a certain degree, you can kind of get around it where it's like you make sure that the Vision Pro is fully charged. You start using it. Maybe you have like a backup battery with you or, something like that, or you're plugged into a wall. But you get this whole kind of like just tethered feeling, and you don't feel as free as you would with, like, I guess, other devices that could last a lot longer. So that is definitely a drawback. The other drawback to the Vision Pro, and this is one that I've called out before, is the fact that I have to hold the Vision Pro just like this. If I don't hold it like this, the minute I hold it by here, this drops and it falls. And I wish the magnets on here were stronger. Like, it doesn't, to me, it doesn't make sense why this is so easy to pull off. Like, it should not be this easy to pull these off when you could easily grab this and this can fall off. So, beating a dead horse, but yeah. The other drawback to the Vision Pro is the fact that you have all of this white material, and a lot of this white material and lighter materials and stuff like that, it will get dingy over time. Some of the stuff you can actually replace. Other stuff you really can't. Like, I'm not even sure if I can wash this whole like seal around here. I know you can take this part off and clean this part, and you can wipe down other parts with like alcohol wipes or stuff like that. But like I said, it's just something that sticks out, and I notice over a period of time. Same thing with this cord here, this proprietary, cord. This will get dingy and dinged up, and sometimes you might experience a little bit of fraying, with it being a braided cable. So the fact that you may have to just swap that out or replace that at some point would be a little annoying as well. And the I guess the biggest thing about the Vision Pro, beyond all of that stuff, is the fact of, one, the price is a very, very, very hefty price, $3,500. I think I said $4,500 earlier, but I meant to say $3,500. That's the entry price. For that amount of money, you would expect something to be all the way fleshed out. Like, I could see if they're saying like, hey, this is our first attempt and things are, we're going to upgrade it and make it better later. We're kind of at the point to where people are like, well, hey, let's dial this thing back just to get the cost down. Let's take away some features just to get the cost down. And then when you look into the fact of the cost, and let's say you look into the Apple Care, and that's, pretty expensive, and how much it would cost to get this thing fixed if you didn't have Apple Care, and all this other stuff that's involved, there's a lack of accessories. So there's not really many accessories that you can put with this. Yes, you can get a replacement band. You can get an additional battery. There's, readers that you can get. You can change out like the seal or whatnot. But that's really about it. You can't even get it outside of the Apple Store. You have to go on to their website to even, order the thing. And if you want to order it, you need an iPhone and you have to do a scan and you have to make sure you get all the right stuff. And even then, you can do all that and it may not even fit right. So there are many annoyances when it comes to this product. And the other thing about this product is there's not a lot of dedicated content. And this is where on one hand it's like, okay, it's a brand new product, things are going to develop later on. On the other hand, it's been 6 months and it feels like Apple is just now really starting to get the ball moving with content, but we still have to wait out for like the rest of 2024 to see the rest of the content that's going to come out. We've had stuff that's been announced, but we're still waiting for it. So to have a product that's very limited and not have a lot of content and not have a lot of apps from the jump, and then to say, hey, spend money on this, be patient and wait for it all to come to fruition is very hard. Like if somebody were to ask me today, yo, should I go out and buy a Vision Pro? I would probably lean and say, no, I would say wait, but you're not really missing out on a whole lot because to a certain degree, if you were to go to the Apple store and let's say you used the Apple Vision Pro 4 or 5 times in like demos or whatever, right? That's about as good as it gets until, more stuff comes out later. And to come back to like, the experiences, there were really only about 4 or 5 experiences total. The Alicia Keys experience, awesome, completely blows me away. I can still watch it and enjoy it. The other experiences, they were short. They were like 10 minutes or less. And I know you're investing into a product into the future, but come on, like out the jump, we need like the concerts and all the stuff that was marketed to us and all this, and that. But there's a lot of hurry up and wait, coming soon, yada, yada, such and such. And that was part of the issue. Now, to rewind back to the other part that I was going to talk about when it comes to, let's say, the apps. Now, recently there was like an article that came out, and I think it was a statement from Apple, something about that there's 2,500 dedicated apps for the Apple Vision Pro, because before there was like a lot of apps that were like on the iPhone and iPad and they were like compatible, but no, these are dedicated apps. Here's the thing. I would say that there's probably about 50 to 100 apps total. I would say maybe closer to 50 than 100, but about 50 apps that are legit apps. These are apps that companies took their time and they've put energy into it and they were doing their best attempt to make this thing work and they were already working on it. Cool. The rest of the apps, a lot of these apps are unfinished. A lot of these apps have the feeling that someone made the app in a simulator and never put on a Vision Pro. So when you're a Vision Pro user and you go to download some of these apps, they're very, very wonky. A lot of them are very poorly reviewed apps. Like the presentation is there, but then you go look at the app and you download it and you're just like, what is this? None of this stuff works, this, that, or whatever. And there's even been a couple of apps where you pay money for them. And it's literally like a lottery. Like you don't even know if the app's even going to be good, even if you pay for it. It's been some apps that were free and were bad. There were some apps that were like $5 to $10 that were bad. And on one app, I just went ahead and just did a refund, but it just made me not want to really trust that much as far as paying for anything or any extra apps, because it's just the wild, wild west right now. There's a lot of apps in the App Store that once you go scrolling past like the recommended part, a lot of these apps are just like really throwaway apps, or they're apps that somebody made just to say, hey, I have an Apple Vision Pro app. And I don't even know how long some of these apps are going to last. And then even trying to find specific apps, there are like huge gaps. So like you'll see a section that says sports, and there may be about 8 legitimate, decent, okay sports apps. The rest is just literally just taking you to something that just has the keyword sport in it and it has nothing to do with the app. Or it might be a game where it's like, oh, hey, let me play like this $2 looking virtual basketball where everything's off, nothing's in tune, and it's just a whole mess. So that's the other part. I feel like Apple really needs to jump back into the Vision Pro and take the reins back and say, yep, say no. This is our product. This is what we want to show you. We're leading the way. You guys get on board and follow suit. It kind of feels like they gave us this device and said, hey, find a purpose for this, you know, beyond the immersive experiences. And to Apple's credit, and I will give them some credit for this, they did start to partner with Canon and Blackmagic to where it's like we as creators or artists or whatnot, videographers, whatever, will be able to create content for the Apple Vision Pro and have these immersive experiences. Because to me, the spatial video on an iPhone is cool, but it's very limited. And the fact that you're going to take an iPhone and record spatial content to watch on a $3,000 to $4,000 device, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 somewhere in other countries, it's like, yeah, there's got to be more than this. Even though Apple's coming out with these newer experiences and stuff, they're kind of spread out and stuff like that. I'm like, there needs to be dedicated experiences, just like there's dedicated TV shows for the Apple Vision Pro. But once again, if we turn this all around and look at this, this is 6 months into the product. I would be a little bit more concerned if it was 12 months into it and we were still kind of like at this kind of like a stagnant point. But even on my channel, I kind of felt like I've reached the mountaintop as far as things that I could even cover or talk about the Vision Pro. And a lot of us as Vision Pro users are just waiting for something new to be added to the Vision Pro or another feature to be unlocked or something to that degree. My last criticism is it's like we had the event last year. Apple announced everything about the Vision Pro. Then we sat there and we waited for until, almost half a year later, well, a little bit more than half a year, all the way until February to where we finally got it. We got the product and we're like, all right, it has this, but it's missing this. All right, they're going to fix this stuff at WWDC. WWDC gets here. You got Vision OS 2. It feels like they just announced just a little bit just to kind of keep you happy and then just kind of moved on from there. And now we're back at this point where it's like we're either looking forward to the end of the year when everything is supposed to come out, or we're looking forward to the next version of it that's supposed to be smaller and cheaper because we're just at a standstill. And every time Apple, they'll give us like the smallest update, the very smallest update. They'll just mention, hey, don't forget about the Vision Pro. It's still here. But to most of the world, the Vision Pro has kind of been forgotten. I'll have to be honest. I feel like I'm maybe one of the last of the Mohicans when it comes to creators even talking about this thing. And so that's kind of like I said, the pros and the cons. I feel like there's a little bit more to the pros, but it's kind of just easily dismissed by a lot of the concerns, issues, and problems that I have with the Vision Pro. Now, mind you, Apple has been fixing a lot of these issues in like the beta updates or whatnot. But as far as if you're looking for new features, we're at a standstill, absolute standstill. But the little tweaks and the knickknacks and stuff like that, and, ease of life updates or whatever, Apple has been doing a better job on that. So I am going to go ahead and leave it there. And that's basically how I feel about the Vision Pro after 6 months. I will say this: if you still want to go out and buy a Vision Pro, you absolutely can. Just make sure you know what you're getting into. If you are one of the people who are like, maybe I should wait, you should probably still wait, because honestly, these things aren't going anywhere. They're not selling out at the rate that Apple believed that they were going to sell out. I'm not sure what's happening with production, if Apple's making more units or not, but it kind of seemed like the sales kind of dipped down pretty heavily, and we may not even get to the 500,000 in sales that a lot of people were projecting. So just a little food for thought. But I will also say this: go to an Apple store. Absolutely, if you can, go to an Apple store, see it in person, do the demo before you spend a dime. If you absolutely can, do that, because at least at the Apple store, they can help, you figure out what's going to fit and what's going to make sense and all this, that, and whatever. Oh yeah, the last thing, yeah, if you wear glasses, yeah, you're going to have to get these special little inserts, but you're going to need your own prescription for these. These are just regular readers, but the prescription ones cost more. I think the prescription ones are like $149 or something like that, where the readers started at 99. So you can't wear glasses and wear this thing. So yeah, this is like a different review style. I didn't want to sit here and do a whole bunch of camera angles and all this stuff. I just wanted to sit there and talk to the camera straight to you guys, just as if we were in the same room and you guys were to ask me, "Hey Trent, what do you think about the Vision Pro?" That's basically what I think about it. So, hey, if you guys made it to this point, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like the video if you like it, and I will see you guys in the next video. All right, y'all, take it easy.